Alrighty. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is the first Credit Agent Show live show. My name is Michael Johnson. I'm here with Leslie, and we're going to be talking about disputes today. So let's just dive on into it. Leslie, what can you tell us about disputes?
Absolutely. So the reason that someone is able to even dispute something negative on their credit report is because of the Fair Credit Reporting Act of the Consumer Protection Laws. And what that says is if there is an item on the credit report that's not 100% accurate, by law, you're able to dispute that negative item that's on there. So this includes collection accounts, charge-offs, late payments, inquiries, things like that.
Gotcha. So when it comes to the dispute cycle itself, oftentimes you hear about kind of filters getting thrown around and stuff like that. So how does the credit agents actually kind of use that filter to our advantage?
Absolutely. So when talking about disputing, there really is like an old type of style of disputing and a new style of disputing. So with the old style of disputing, it really is like a generic type of letter that gets mailed to the credit bureaus that say, hey, I think this account may or may not be 100% accurate. Take a
Yeah.
look at it and I hope I get some good news back.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now with the new style of disputing, specifically the credit agents, we know how to make sure that the dispute letters that we send don't just get filtered out by eOscar. So eOscar is like it's a computer that works with the credit bureaus, and typically when you send an old type of dispute letter, eOscar just takes a look at it and says, hey, your dispute isn't valid, and nothing gets done, right? With the credit agents, we know what keywords specifically that system is looking for to make sure that an actual live person takes a look at the disputes and says, wow, they have a really good claim, and shows proof of what they're saying as far as what the discrepancy is specifically. So we know how to do that.
Gotcha. So when it kind of comes to a consumer or customer wanting to use the credit agents, I mean, what should they really look for? What programs do we have for them?
Absolutely. So whenever everything really leads to the consultation. So folks can absolutely dispute items themselves. However, it could be super overwhelming because they don't know specifically what a collection account looks like, what a charge-off looks like, what kind of discrepancies there are, and it's often super overwhelming. And so I would just encourage them to call the credit agents and give us an opportunity to go through that initial consultation with the client.
Gotcha. And then when it comes to, I guess, kind of post consultation, what can clients kind of look forward to from that?
Absolutely. So a higher credit score.
Yeah, honestly.
So, I mean, really, it's really just, I mean, the credit bureaus have 30 days or so to get back to us as far as what deletions have been made, what the updated credit scores are. So as far as, if they hire the credit agents and give us an opportunity, then they can expect to get updates about every 30 to 35 days. They have a portal, they get phone call updates. And so it's a really, really neat process. And I always tell people it is so encouraging once you start to see progress, because a lot of times our clients are coming out of really hard situations. Maybe they lost their job, gone through a divorce, or somebody got sick. Everyone has a story. And so we just love being a part of their story and giving them a second chance at credit and at life. And so the quality of their life can just improve dramatically. Because no one wants to pay 15% interest on a vehicle.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the worst thing ever, right?
Yeah. So we just got done, for anybody tuning in, talking about disputes and kind of the dispute cycle itself. So now we're actually going to kind of open it up to a Q&A. So any questions you guys have for us, go ahead, pop them in the chat and we'll read them off. Hey, what's going on, Maine? All right, we just got a question here. What are the keywords you guys talked about?
Whenever someone writes a dispute, there are keywords that eOscar will filter out to not look at the disputes.
Gotcha. So I guess kind of diving on into that, with the keywords specifically, we'll just kind of run over the filter we mentioned earlier when it comes to, you know, a lot of these kind of credit bureaus and stuff like that. So explain to me again kind of that filter and how that works.
Absolutely. So we were talking about the old type of disputing and the new type of disputing. Unfortunately, when consumers see something negative on their credit report, they will maybe look for some type of generic type of dispute letter that they can mail out that's super general. It probably says something like, this account isn't mine, or it's not 100% accurate, something like that, that e-Oscar that works for Experian or Equifax or TransUnion will say, well, they catch on those words and they say, okay, well, it's 100% legit because there's no proof to the validation. So with the credit agent specifically, we send proof as far as what the discrepancies are specifically. Is the date open not correct? The date last active, the date of last payment, the balance, the credit limit. All of those things need to be 100% legit. And that's how we get past that system, that filtration that goes to eOscar, because we want to make sure that someone actually takes a look at Leslie's dispute letter and says, okay, I do see where it isn't 100% legit. Okay, so, you know, that's how you kind of get traction and start getting those items, you know, off the report.
That's awesome. We actually just got a message here from ASAP Transpo. He's saying he has been signed up now for 7 months and is just really having a great time with it, showing improvement. So that's awesome.
Well,
Glad
we
to hear that's the
celebrate that.
case.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm telling you, those are the clients that make my heart sing.
Yeah, definitely.
I just love hearing that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then kind of another question, you know, we always kind of get a lot, it seems, is specifically about credit scores and more specifically just the difference in credit scores, how you can have multiple separate credit scores.
Absolutely.
Could you explain kind of why that happens?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there are 3 credit bureaus. So there's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And you would think that these 3 communicate, but they're actually separate entities. So there's no correlation between them as far as like if you have a credit card or an open auto loan, that creditor doesn't have to report to all 3. And that the same goes for a negative item. So if you have a collection account or you have a charge-off account, it doesn't necessarily have to report to all 3. Some of them only reports to 1, some report to 2, and some report to 3. And so that's why you'll see different credit scores, is because not every single item reports to all 3.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, for anybody that's just joining in, we are taking any questions that you guys have in a live Q&A format. So go ahead, shoot some questions down below and we'll answer them here live.
So I would say, you know, while we're kind of waiting on some questions, I think that, you know, sometimes it could be super intimidating when you don't know where to start and you're, you know, you're trying to look at your credit report and you're trying to get ready for a major purchase. So whether it's a vehicle or you're tired of renting and you want to buy a house, if you're not sure where to start in that process, I would encourage just anyone that's watching to give us a call and go through the initial consultation and see kind of what's on their credit report, because I have personally enrolled so many of my friends and my family members, and sometimes there are items on the credit, number one, that are not theirs, or there are siblings or parents' names on the credit report, and that could later become an issue. And so want to make sure that everything on the credit report is 100% accurate. The names are 100% accurate, right? So that's just super important. So if you don't know where to start, I would just encourage you to give us a call and go through the initial consultation and kind of see exactly where you're at in that process.
Gotcha. Awesome. We got a couple more questions here.
Okay.
We got one from Isabu saying, how can I build more credit?
Absolutely. So if you don't have any any positive credit or any credit right now, you could definitely look at getting a secured credit card or some type of revolving account. It's important to have a good mix of credit. So you want to make sure there are good revolving accounts, installment accounts, just having a good mix. But a secured credit card is definitely the way to go. And if you want to go through a consultation, the credit agents actually has partners that we partner with secured credit cards to make sure that, you're able to successfully get one.
That's awesome. And we got another question here from V1 saying, how can items be removed from your credit report? Is it legal or illegal? So this actually kind of ties back into disputes and the dispute cycle itself that we were kind of mentioning earlier. If you just want to dive into disputes again real quick.
Absolutely. So items are absolutely able to come off the credit report based on the consumer protection laws and the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So it is legal. And so what that says is if there is an item on the credit report that's not 100% accurate, so hear me in that. I'm not saying 80%, 90%, it's actually 100% accurate, then it is violating the Fair Credit Reporting Act, needs to come off the credit report. So the credit agents is 100% legal. It's on the up and up. And if you are not sure what kind of discrepancies are on the credit report, go through a consultation. It's completely free. It's super low pressure. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. It's pretty quick. And one of our agents will walk you through what that looks like.
Gotcha. So really anybody kind of strictly on the fence about, credit and everything, kind of in that sphere itself. What kind of advice can you give them there when it comes to just building credit more and, taking steps to really improve that credit score?
Absolutely. So I would say knowledge is power. Really the whole world revolves around credit nowadays. I mean, you really can't buy anything without a decent credit score.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter if you have, $15,000, $20,000 in the bank, you're not able to really build wealth if you have a 500 credit score, unfortunately. And the truth is when you go and buy a vehicle or you're renting, you're paying so much more. Then, the cost of living is so much higher. And so that's why you have to get a hold of your credit. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with the credit agents. Like if you feel like you can repair your own credit, absolutely. The consultation is really for anybody. And so if you don't know where to start, you can call in and we'll tell you exactly where to start, exactly what to do. So you'll have the tools. And if you want to hire us, awesome. If you don't, that's okay too.
Awesome. Yeah. We have another question here from Alex. It says, how long does credit repair take?
That's a great question. So typically it takes, I would say about 4 to 6 months, on average. You will see a really good increase, I would say, in the first 3 months.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Well, we'll take a couple more questions if anybody has them before we end the stream. So go ahead and shoot.
So anyways.
Yeah. How's life been?
Life's been great. I mean, I talked to someone yesterday. We were actually able to get a repossession off of her credit.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And she was able to close on a new home.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It is. It really is. And so those are the things that kind of, I'm telling you, my heart just is roaring.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. So it's just, I think really the biggest thing is whenever people see that there's a second chance, right?
Yeah.
There's help. And if, whether they hire us or not, we'll still give them the tools on how to do it.
Yeah.
I believe that Joe actually put out a free credit repair type of system.
He did, yes.
On his. So I think we have just a lot of resources for, depending on how fast someone wants to move. If they want to do it, we can do it. We provide all the resources.
Yeah. And that's, I feel like kind of key with the credit agents is it's not even really about a second chance or even a third chance, fourth chance. We will just help.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
But all right. So we are just about done. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Leslie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And if anybody needs to contact the credit agents, you can take a look at the link in our bio. We have links to our website for that free 15-minute consultation as well, or you can call us or text us at our number in our bio. So thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you.